Industrial City Division was created following the elevation of Mbale municipality to city status in 2020, with the first city elections held in 2021. Mbale was among the earliest cities created by the Ministry of Local Government. Historically, the former Mbale municipality parliamentary seat has been dominated by the opposition, particularly the Forum for Democratic Change, for more than 2 decades. It is currently represented by Independent Member of Parliament Karim Masaba. In the last election, Mbale City had 147,774 registered voters, with the NRM securing 39% of the vote, while opposition parties collectively garnered 56%. Campaigns are in high gear across the city, with candidates employing strategies ranging from door-to-door mobilization to open rallies. Across the political divide, candidates are promising to improve service delivery. Key challenges dominating the campaign include the poor state of roads, blocked drainage systems, garbage mismanagement, poor education and health services, land grabbing, corruption, and low wages and poor working conditions for employees at Mbale Industrial Park. Voters say they want a leader who will clean up the city, fight corruption, improve service delivery, and effectively represent Mbale City's interests in Parliament.
We have an issue of corruption with nowhere to report. Yet our children pay fees for universal education and medical workers sell government drugs and return empty containers. These things really hurt us.
I want emphasis put on the formation of women's circles to encourage savings. We are tired of loans with harsh and exploitative conditions.
Residents also want stronger advocacy for workers' rights, including better pay, job security, and compensation for people whose land was taken to establish the industrial park. Incumbent Member of Parliament Karim Masaba says he has played a key role in lobbying for development in Mbale City, including securing funding for the construction and rehabilitation of an ICU unit and oxygen plant at Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, upgrading piped water systems through a World Bank loan, and supporting education initiatives.
My key role as the MP is to represent my people, which I believe I've performed quite well, and my voters do appreciate that I've always been vocal on the floor of Parliament on issues that affect our people. We've had issues of floods, we've had issues of infrastructure being spoiled, we've had issues of health, we've had issues of schools, education. I've always been out, I've always been vocal on these things.
Masaba adds that he intends to lobby the Ministry of Local Government to increase funding for newly created cities, noting that Mbale is still operating on a municipal level budget, a situation he says has worsened garbage collection, road conditions, drainage, and the state of schools.
We need to have these kinds of systems. When you look at the industrial park, it was built in a water catchment area. Much of these waters flowing from the city had to go there, but now they have been diverted. These waters have been diverted. But with these diversions, we need to have proper drainages. We need to desilt these drainages, and they need to be constructed very well.
Independent candidate and street vendor Anthony Wasukira criticizes the lack of government secondary schools. He blames poor service delivery on a growing gap between leaders and the communities they represent, arguing that many members of parliament are detached and spend most of their time in Kampala.
The office of the MP is in the capital city of Uganda, Kampala, but it's better to have that office in each and every ward to ensure good service delivery.
He also warns voters against leaders who bribe them with money, claiming some candidates are selling property to buy votes. Leaders, he says, later disappear to recover their investment.
That money you're eating, it's as if you're doing business with those people. They give you money, you give them votes. So this time round, eat the money but vote me.
NRM candidate John Wambogo Wekesa, who has lost the seat to the opposition in the last 3 elections, says his door-to-door strategy has helped him better understand residents' challenges. He reveals that many residents are not benefiting from the parish development model, arguing that the 100 million shillings allocation is insufficient and blaming weak political representation.
The beneficiaries of the PDM fund are very few in Namatala ward because the 100 million is not enough for the big population of Namatala ward. 2, the drainage system in Namatala is very, very poor. They need an improvement in that drainage system, and I commit myself to addressing this. I have also decided to move house to house so that I don't disrupt them from their day-to-day work. So I've decided to find them in the areas where they work.
FDC candidate Margaret Wokuri Mandada, the only woman in the race, says she's not intimidated by contesting against men, describing the campaign as an exchange of ideas rather than a battlefield.
Scared of men? Why? Why would I be scared? Because you would be scared. This is not wrestling. It's not that you are going to go into a field and wrestle physically. No. This is a contest of ideas.
She points the lack of access to clean water in some areas where residents share water sources with animals, as well as the absence of adequate primary and secondary schools, a situation she says puts learners, especially girls, at risk. She pledges to promote accountability, demanding that technical officers account for government funds. She also promises to tackle youth unemployment by establishing a skills training center and creating a women's fund to support mothers.
In my door-to-door, I was in Nabitiri in a cell called Masanda. It has a huge population, but the people there don't have a primary school, a government primary school, and a government secondary school. The only places there are small private schools. Now the parents they are saying we need a school, a quality school, because they said our children have to go either to Maluku, come this way in Maluku, or come to Mbale City, and this is dangerous because for me as a woman, as a person who knows gender issues, I know that it is very dangerous for especially a teenage girl to be moving on a border every day to come to school.
Saidi Bin Sharif Wafula of the People's Front for Freedom says he would advocate for minimum and maximum wage policies, particularly for workers at Mbale Industrial Park, many of whom earn between 5,000 shillings and 6,000 shillings for long hours under harsh conditions. He notes that workers lack insurance coverage and that some injured on the job have never been compensated due to lack of effective representation.
We appreciate the government and we also appreciate the Chinese government. However, there is a very, very big problem in this Chinese industrial park just opposite my residence here. People are working there under harsh conditions. They are paying people only 6,000 Ugandan shillings per day. But if you look at the work that they are doing, do they deserve such amount of money?
He laments the deteriorating state of Mbale City, once among the cleanest in Uganda and East Africa, now plagued by garbage and flooding. He criticizes the commercialization of politics, blaming the NRM government for creating an environment where credible leaders are pushed out and voters expect money from candidates.
The biggest mistakes that the NRM has made is the commercialization of politics in Uganda. The commercialization of politics in Uganda it's actually kicking out very many competent leaders in this country, even the generational leaders of this country.
Independent candidate Reagan Wandera describes Mbale City as a change of name without substance, citing poor roads, lack of clean water and absence of electricity in some areas.
How can we be in a city and people are still drinking water with animals? People don't have power. These are voices I want to reach out to the floor of parliament. The issues affecting the people of Mbale, service deliveries, because when you talk about PDM, some people don't receive PDM money. But because of our leaders, information is not reaching our people, how they can get the money, how government programs are moving, and which offices can they reach to get these services?
Bernard Musoba of the Democratic Party says he would lobby government to upgrade health center 2s, some of which he claims have been turned into rental houses, to health center 3s and push for the establishment of more schools.
Our health center 2s have become houses for rent. Not only here, but in the entire industrial state division. I think even some region like Northern, but I will not speak about that because my concern is on industrial city. Our health, we have only like one health center 3, which is Bukasache, which is accommodating the population of industrial city and even part of Mbale district, that is Kamoto and some parts of Wambogo. So I'm going to request government that since you set up those health center 2s, may you imply that you put there medication for our people to get services.
A teacher by profession, Musoba also promised to engage the Ministry of Education to strengthen professionalism among teachers in private schools under the new curriculum.
We have had to reach areas. How am I going to solve that? I'm going to emphasize that when they are allocating teachers, a teacher should be allocated in the region where he comes from. Like we have issues with Wanare. It is hard to reach when it comes to PLE. So it needed a candidate or a teacher who is in that position, that when he's given the opportunity to be in government payroll, he will work in the region, knowing that the region I'm working in is our region. So that one will upgrade our education here.